wherever you are in different countries, different time zones, different continents. Stay safe, stay healthy. Kindly take care of your wellness. Kindly take care of your family, your friends, your neighbors, your community, your society, your country, the best possible way. Each one of us matter. Each one of us can make lots of contribution to the humanity our own way, whatsoever you wish to do. Today, we are very fortunate. We have got a distinguished speaker. We have got Madam Suchitra Seethapathy. She is the principal of the Golden Gates Earth School, Salem. Salem is in Tamil Nadu. It's a beautiful place. It's more near Coimbatore. The people, those are watching from abroad, it's about 5 to 6 hour journey by road as far as Chennai is concerned, because you all are familiar with Chennai. So about 5 hours or so, plus minus, you can take in your car depending on your speed. And then from Coimbatore, you're more near. That is the way we talk about. And like some of the people were asking me about the Salem, so I recapitulate, particularly with my people from the northeast part of India. Those go for medical treatment and couple of other, health related queries. There is a Vinayaka Mission Hospital, which I have been told, yes. So I also educated myself this afternoon. Any knowledge is good. So ladies and gentlemen, this series, what we have got, making education relevant. Today is the 229th webinar. आइए शिक्षा को प्रासंगिक बनाएं, global confluence of intellectuals from the world over. New Education Policy 2020, which has been announced by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. We are sharing, we are talking, we are working on that, and we are taking to the next stage now, making connections. So today is Thursday, 15th of October. As far as India is concerned, it's about 42 minutes past 12 o'clock, 12:42 in the afternoon. So ladies and gentlemen, let's empower our teachers the best possible way, whatsoever we can do. Our chamber, International Chamber for Service Industry, in the service of humanity since 1994, with a focus to get all the non-resident Indians from the world over together for the common cause, for the human development, for making world a better place to live, and where people can live in harmony, and where there is a brotherhood, and all of us will live in peace and growth and prosperity and happiness. During this pandemic, because 30 million non-resident Indians abroad in different countries, different continents. So we have taken the agenda, let us make education relevant. That's what is the focus during this coronavirus. Heartiest congratulations to Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Education Minister of India, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji, and all the stakeholders, our secretaries, joint secretaries, additional secretaries, directors, and in the chain, all the officers, particularly AICT, UGC, AIU, NCRT, NIPA, National Council for Teacher Education, and all of them, they are doing wonderful job. There are a lot of deliberations going on in India at this point of time. What changes are coming in school education? What is coming in higher education? Policy has been announced, now it has to be implemented. So at present, the deliberations are at the peak. Everybody is trying to deliberate at their own level, whether at school level or college level or vocational level or skill level or competency level, whatsoever levels I can think of, everybody is deliberating about it. It has become the buzzword and the most popular at this point of time. New National Education Policy 2020, coming after 34 years, after 1986. And if I flip the last two words, 1986, last two words, 86, if you reverse it, 68. So the first policy was in 68, second in 86, and then 1992, small changes, and now is after 34 years, this policy. With this policy, we also consider, particularly during this lockdown, our chamber has gathered a lot of stats from world over, and we feel that water scarcity is going to be one of the biggest challenge on this planet in the times to come. पानी की बहुत कमी होगी, बहुत सारी जगहें होंगी जिनमें पानी होगा ही नहीं, लोगों को बहुत तकलीफ होगी, बहुत प्रॉब्लम आएगी, डिफिकल्टीज आएगी. So people, those are watching this program world over, we would like to request you, Let's save every drop of water wherever you are. Women empowerment is again very important for all of us. We got to consider. I have my mother, I've got my wife, I've got my daughter, I've got my daughter-in-law, I've got my child, grandchild, whatsoever you think of. So ladies, they got to play a very important role in the civilization their own way, and they got to empower the humanity, and we got to do the best whatsoever we can. So ladies and gentlemen, girls' education is very important. Let's think about women empowerment. Let's think about the all permutation, combination, pedagogies, andragogies, and innovations, creativity, collaborations, whatsoever we can do for women empowerment, we must do. That is something very important, and our chamber has taken this as the main central focus agenda. We started in the morning at 9 o'clock and we finish at 9 o'clock. 12 hours we are in your service. No money being charged from anybody. Anyone world over who needs any kind of a support, whether school or college or institution, whatever support you are looking forward to, whether for skills or for competencies or teacher empowerment, youth motivation, don't forget, today is a very important day. Today is 15th of October. Today is a happy birthday of late President of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam Sahab, the great soul, the pious soul, and what a wonderful soul who touched the planet Earth and this humanity. And there was so much to learn from him. What is the purpose of life? Who am I? What am I doing? मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? और जीवन में अगर आप यहाँ से कुछ किए बगैर चले जाओ, तो you are a wastage on this planet. We got to contribute something substantial on this planet, very important. So ladies and gentlemen, this is our entire week canvas, which you can see right over here. Monday to Sunday, we are in your service, all of us together, what we are doing. So this was, I was talking about, wherever, whosoever is watching this particular program, please tell your teachers, please tell your students, please tell everybody. Today at 3 o'clock, I'm holding a very special program. I will take you through the journey. The person who started with his father selling newspapers, news hawker early in the morning, Rameshwaram, when you talk about Tamil Nadu. So if he could rise and if he could go up to the President of India's post, you can well imagine anything is achievable, anything is possible. The Almighty, the God, that person who is watching from the top, he should be with you. You can do anything on this planet. So do join us today at 3 o'clock. If you are a true patriotic, if you're a true Indian, please tell your teachers, please tell your principals, please tell your students, whatever age group they are, they should join. About 45 minutes, I'm going to flip through some slides and I will take through his journey, how he started and where he finished and gave finally the goodbye to this world. Dreams are not the one which come when you're sleeping. Dreams are the one which do not let you sleep. You got to fulfill those dreams. That's very important. Our chamber, right from 25th of March till 10th of October, we have done a wonderful, the golden triangle used to be earlier, Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. Now I laugh. Why I'm laughing? Because you must smile, you must laugh. If you remain happy, then only you can, you can send this corona from the global, from the entire world. It's very important. All of us, we have to understand. So ladies and gentlemen, when you look at the whole global research which our chamber has carried out in the different countries, we wish to share with all of you that there are three basic things in the golden triangle. First, please, please, please cultivate your own vegetables. Start growing vegetables in your residence, in your kitchen garden, on your rooftop, wherever you can. Please grow vegetables. Second, take care of your health. Think positive, talk positive, work positive, dream positive, sleep positive, and laugh, laugh as much as you can. No corona will come to you, let me assure you. Third part, education will totally change now. Those were earlier thinking January, February, the education. This was to come in education. This digital mode was to come in education, but it was to come in phases in 10 years. It came like a tsunami, and every teacher has gone on mobile phone, laptop, iPad, whatever, radio, television, theater, music, whatever you can think of. Everybody is trying their level best how to impart education. And business to business, now B2B will be known as back to basics of life. So whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Here is our website and here are our numbers. Please, let's get back to each other. We are privileged this afternoon. We have got Madam Suchitra Seethapathy, Principal, Golden Gates Earth School, Salem, Tamil Nadu. What a beautiful state, what a prestigious state. I sometimes laugh and smile. People ask me, Dr. Sharma, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma, how is it possible at the age of 72, you talk like a 20-year-old child? Yes, because I'm energetic, I'm passionate, I'm a happy child. I enjoy every moment of my life. I don't get annoyed on anything because there are certain things within my control. There are certain things beyond my control. Every day I'm trying to learn how to remain happy. That is something very important. We all have to learn. And why Tamil Nadu? I love Tamil Nadu and I remember Tamil Nadu. I always used to find an excuse to go to Tamil Nadu. Now you would say, what for? Well, when I was with the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, there is one beautiful place called Kurtialam. I still recollect. I used to go to Kurtialam Falls. The mineral water, there is a waterfall from the top, it comes down. And down below, people are selling small bottles for 10 rupees, 15 rupees, 20 rupees, the mustard oil sort of a thing. It's some special oil for the body. So you apply that oil on the body, stand under that particular stream which is coming from the top. It is full of minerals. It gives you such a freshness and refreshing. I'm young because of Kurtialam. That is the secret I would like to share with the whole universe. Please go to Kurtialam, visit Tamil Nadu, enjoy. She has done her MSc Psychology and a Cambridge International Diploma in Teaching and Learning. Wow. Teaching is now going away. Learning is going to stay back because education is becoming learning centric now, ladies and gentlemen. We got to understand. Diploma in Inclusive Education. Very good. Spastics Society of Karnataka, Bangalore. Great cause, very noble cause. I'm very happy on that. Worked in child development, counseling, inclusive education for 12 years. I think Madam CV, whosoever has drafted all the keywords have been put over here because first is the psychology, then is inclusive education, then is learning, and then is counseling, then is inclusive education. Started the role as a school principal at Golden Gates Earth School, Salem, Tamil Nadu. Headed Project Masoom. Wow. I hope you all understand. There's a beautiful Hindi movie also, Masoom. You must see Nasruddin Shah and Shabana Azmi and others. What a beautiful movie. Lakdi ki kathi, kathi ka ghoda, घोड़े की दुम पे जो मारा हथौड़ा और बोला बोला बोला. There's some song beautiful. So headed Project Masoom for 2 years, a vertical for child safety and protection initiated by Young Indians Salem Chapter. So ladies and gentlemen, with these words, let's extend a very hearty welcome to our guest this afternoon. And it's a privilege to have Madam Suchitra Seethapathy with us. And let's get her views and let her share entire knowledge with us this afternoon. Ma'am, hearty welcome to you. Whatsoever you have got here, please give all that to the humanity this afternoon. Whatsoever you have got here, please share with the humanity the best possible way. Please go ahead. With these words, we extend you a very hearty welcome. And please, let's listen to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, Gulshan ji. Thank you, Dr. Chitra ji. And thank you, Mr. Sendal, sir, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to get in touch with so many intellectuals and educators and people who have so much of interest and inclination towards making education relevant. And I mean, you know, I started my career as a counselor, special educationalist, and all that is a part. But I remember how I learned in school. Always the beginning point for all of us is always how we were in school. Now, if we have to think back to how we learned, I do have some nice memories. I do have some not so nice memories. Now, if you were to go ask some of my teachers, I think they would say, "Oh, this girl can be, very talkative, not so intelligent, can learn English very well, maths very well, but I don't think she'll become an engineer." I mean, they had so many viewpoints about a student. Why is that so? It's not just me, about any student. Because a student generally is so very well connected in certain classes. They love certain subjects. They love to learn certain subjects. Say, let's say there is a child A. Now, this child A can sit in a math class, can listen in a math class, can do the math problems, can understand the math problems, but still not enjoy the math, is not looking forward to a math class. Because say there is a rain and the school closes down for rain, that child is probably so happy. There is a Bharat Bandh, the school is on leave. They are so happy because, yeah, no school, which means I don't have to do my math homework. I don't have to, take up math class. But in reality, this child is so good in math. He is good in numbers. He is able to understand the problem. The teacher is also good. The teacher is also kind. She is also very nice to the child. The child also likes the maths teacher. But still, there is a significant gap. So, which results in the child celebrating and having fun when the school is declared a holiday. Because there is more fun to be had at home. There is more laughter to be had with friends outside classroom than inside the classrooms. Why is that so? Why is that connection missing? Some people thought everything needs to be activity based. Everything needs to have a project. Learning must be project based. Absolutely agreed, which is how learning should be. But is that enough? Is that project based learning enough to make a child extremely engaged and motivated to learn? See, there was one instance where a group of 7th standard students were asked to do a project on mushroom culture. It's a very simple project. They were given a task. They were given some mycelium spawns. They were given a task sheet. They were told what to do. Everything was there on paper. The teacher was trying to push the students. Come on, do this. Come on, do that. Do this, do that. So the directions were so clear. And the students had to be pushed constantly. Sometimes they forgot this, they forgot that. And some children wanted to take leave. Some children found it boring. They were not really keen on executing this project. Why? This is a project-based learning. There is activity in it. There is fun to be had by learning. But still, they were listening to certain directions, and the students, all they had to do was follow. Look at the instruction on task sheet. Listen to the instructions given by the teacher. Yet, the students were not motivated to complete the project. So there was the significant gap where the teacher, even though she had a project in hand, was unable to execute this learning in a classroom. So when such a thing happened, all we had to do was flip the scenario. Why should the teacher give everything? Why should the teacher give a task instruction? Why should the teacher tell them what to do? Rather, if the teacher simply set the task for the children, all they had to do was information is available at your fingertips these days. This is digital, digital times. So all they had to do was search for information, allocate roles among their group. How are they going to go about this? Who is going to do what? Who is going to provide the space for growing the mushroom? Who is going to water the mushrooms regularly? Who is going to ensure that they store the spawns very well? Who is going to take it out? Who is going to clean them up? Who is going to pack them? So once these roles were allocated, which were completely carried out by the students, the project became so interesting. The project became very meaningful, and students were able to complete this within the stipulated period of time. Where was the difference? Suddenly, it didn't make sense when teacher gave everything. Whereas when the context became relevant to the students, this has to happen in my house. I have to do this. I have to store it. When a learner was able to, when a student was able to make connection with that particular project, magic happened. What did they have at the end? They learned so much about mushroom culture. They learned about, they learned botany, they learned economics through the project. So much to be learned in one very simple activity. But was the activity important, or the role, the connection established for the activity, with the activity? Was that important? So that is where I'm coming in. To begin with, let me share something with you. So if you see people speak about how children learn, there are so many studies and so many theories on how people learn. Some people learn by listening, some people learn by seeing, some people learn by doing, some people learn by touching and moving around. There are so many different theories. So this theory, especially popular with educationists, is something known as multiple intelligence. So they say teach students through music, teach students through projects, teach students through movement, action and drama, or through singing, or through even reading, storytelling and discussion. There are so many different ways to learn. There is not one single way, and not one single way is the perfect way to learn. But still, I realized there are children even with multiple ways. If we don't foster or forge that connection, that personal connection with these learning types, with the students, then it does not, none of these make sense. For example, let me tell you a story about a student named Anand. So he turned out, when he grew up, he turned out to be a brilliant mathematician and a musician and an engineer. So during one of these interesting discussions, I got to know he was a very bad student in school who failed in math. He was good in math, but he failed in math, and he never attended a single music competition, or participated in a music program in school, and he didn't really make sense during the science classes. But what happened in school to have made, that he had to hate these subjects, whereas when he grew up, the same subject ended up being his passion. He was telling me, I did learn calculus, or I did learn some techniques in music, or I did learn physics, but I don't know what I learned it for. What an important, what an important revelation. Even this made me think back to a lot of things that I learned in school. Why did I learn this geometry? Or why did I learn a certain equation in chemistry? How is it important? And did these make sense to my life? Were those lessons in chemistry, physics, and biology, and zoology or geography, was it really important? So I learned about iron ores in certain parts of northern India, or groundnut cultivation in certain parts of South India. But I used to wonder, why am I learning this? But today, if I were to teach that lesson, I would think, can I foster a connection? Can I forge a connection so that these lessons become relevant to children? So this is what we're getting at today. So how do we establish the connection? It all begins with something known as prior knowledge. So this prior knowledge is something a lot of us don't take into account. Like we have a class. So as a teacher, let's say we have a class of 20 children sitting with us. We all assume the children either know this much or don't know anything at all, or know a lot. So what happens is we prepare our lesson with the premise that they already know something, or they don't know anything, or they know everything. So we tend to ignore what they already know, and then we keep talking about a certain lesson. Let's say my lesson is about a river in Egypt, the longest river in Egypt, the Nile. So I'm going to teach them a lesson about it. So I'm talking to them, listen, children, this is Egypt, this is in this part of the continent, or this part of the world. So I'm giving so many lessons. But in my class, there can be a child who has already been to Egypt, because my knowledge of Egypt comes from Google or from a geography textbook. But for that child, his knowledge of Egypt comes from personal experience. He has traveled to Egypt with his family. He has gone on a tour there. He has gone on a cruise across the River Nile. So he might know a bit more than me. That is something I have never stopped to consider. I am the teacher. I know I have prepared so many things and I know it, but I failed to foster a connection with the with the child in class who has already been to Egypt. Yet another child in my class could be completely clueless about the continents, different continents of the world. I might be talking about a continent in Africa or Asia or Australia, but this child doesn't know the names of different continents. So each child comes with different knowledge. So what am I doing without understanding their prior knowledge? But I'm teaching what I came to teach. So this is where the connection is lost. The child who knew so much about Egypt is bored with my class. Arey, what are you telling me? I've already been to Egypt. You're showing me a map. But in reality, on a photograph, it looks different. There is one child who lost connection with me, the teacher, because they knew something different. Whereas there is another child who is thinking, you are talking about Egypt. I have never heard of that country. I have never heard of a continent named Africa or Asia or Europe. What are you talking about? A country named Egypt. Why am I bothered? I don't know which continent I'm living in. So again, in this case, the connection is lost. So I have not taken into account the different prior knowledge experiences of my students. For me as a teacher to establish connection, prior knowledge is the buzzword. I have to be extremely careful about understanding my learners before I begin to teach what I know. Now, what do these things mean? Like I'm talking prior knowledge and connections. Why should this be important? Why is this even relevant in today's webinar? Because students need to be engaged. What is the point of students just sitting simply and not learning and doing whatever? Today, with these online classes, it is becoming more apparent that children are able to learn better with 2 to 2.5 hours of learning. They're able to learn very well. Sometimes I wonder, what are we even doing teaching them for 6 hours, keeping them engaged in school for 6 to 7 hours? Is that important? So are we making sense? So this online learning has made us think back over a lot of our own practices and policies and procedures. So we realize there are so many things we could do better and we could do different. End of the day, children must be engaged. It's not about hand engagement, because sometimes children can be writing, can be drawing, can be pasting, can be doing some project, but still talking to their friends and completely not paying attention, because I can copy a math problem from the board, yet talking to my friend, completely not engaged with what is happening in the math class. Or I can be doing a science project, say a robotics project, I'm making a carousel, I have to look at a circuit diagram and I have to make these connections. Still, I am not engaged. My hands are engaged. My body is engaged. My eyes are also engaged. But is my mind engaged? Is my mind engaged to these learning activities? That is something I have to think. I have to sit and think. So this cognitive or mental or thought engagement is very important. Now, this engagement, if it is present, then children are able to make a connection with their learning. And in a classroom, to make connections, we need to give students opportunity to explore. I cannot assume, oh, children learn different ways by different ways. They learn through music, they learn through dancing, they learn through drama. So many different things are there. But I am still assuming this lesson on ozone layer is so very well taught through a drama. But is that the only way to teach and only way to learn? I have not explored, nor have I given my students an opportunity to explore. Do I have options for students to learn? Do they have a choice to learn through book, learn through internet, learn through an activity, learn through a play or a drama or a story? So have I given them, provided them opportunities? Because when I am given an opportunity, I will choose something which will make sense to me, which will give me a meaning. I will not choose something that makes no sense to me. Even if I have to go buy 4 packets, if I have to go shopping and buy biscuits, I will choose my favorite biscuit. There may be 4 varieties that I like, but that particular day, I feel like eating this particular chocolate cream biscuit, so I might pick that up. So this child is generally good in reading, or that child is generally good learning through the internet or watching a video and learning or doing project and learning. But when we give them choices and opportunity to explore, students get a chance, a choice to pick out what makes sense for them on that particular day. So this makes learning very active. Students are able to, this learner agency and learner autonomy is something the West has been talking a lot about. So self-directed learning, the learner takes a certain direction. I want to learn this. I want to learn this way. I want to learn so much. So there are so many things the learner decides, the student decides on the day of the learning. So this makes them very active. They are always engaged, thinking, oh, I have so many options to explore. I can learn through so many ways. Now, how do I choose this? So I will choose the activity which makes a lot of meaning to me, to which I am able to connect, which makes me think, and this makes learning very deep. And when the learning is very deep, I'm not bothered about understanding facts because my learning is quite deep. I'm able to use these facts, the knowledge as a base, and I'm able to build on it. I'm able to say, I already know how to bake a cake. Because knowledge-based learning will be like, I'm teaching a child how to bake a cake. But if I were a learner who learns deeply, I already know how to bake a cake. So my further learning will be, how can I make this better? How can I make this cake more tastier with better flavors, with, that looks good with lots of cream and fondant, and how can I make this look so appealing to everyone? And I'm also able to think critically, is this cake really that good, or is it not that good? Can I make it this better? Can I make that better? So there are so many ways I can think critically. And now cake is a very simple example I'm giving you. Say even let's refer to the mushroom culture project. So if I were to choose my own mushroom culture project, which means I am thinking critically during the project. What happens if it doesn't rain? What happens if the place is too hot? What happens if the place is too wet or warm or damp? What happens if some sort of insects or prey comes in, attacks the mushroom? I'm able to make so many decisions based on what if theories. What happens when this happens to my project? What happens when that happens to my project? So these sort of different thinking thought processes will make me think higher and think better. And when this happens, the basic question of how to bake a cake or how to grow a mushroom is something so simple, because I have been given opportunities to go beyond, rather than a teacher giving me or giving a student a question, or like a learning activity as learn how to bake a cake or learn how to grow mushroom. Rather, if it becomes an opportunity for a student to explore what are the different ways through which I can grow mushrooms, or what are the different ways through which I can bake a cake, then I'm going to learn a lot about measurement, how much of flour goes into this, how much of sugar goes into it, and how do I same way, how do I grow is required, how much of water is required, and how do I use the knowledge I have about mushrooms and cake to make these two projects so successful. And what happens, something adverse or something happens to not make my project very good, then I will think of ways to protect my project. When all this happens, the learning sticks, it sort of sticks with the learner, it doesn't go away, because I have done so much, I have explored so much in order for me to learn about cake baking or learn about mushroom culture or learn about constructing a carousel through robotics. So I have done so much, and I am not going to forget. I may forget what I learned for my exam last week, but doing so much with so much of connection and so much of involvement and so much of personal touch, I am not going to forget this at all. So how do we start this process called as learner agency or learner autonomy? So this is how learners make sense, because we just tell them, oh, this is a mushroom culture project. Do learners make sense immediately? Okay, mushroom culture project. What is it important to me? Why is it important to me? Why should I do this? Or let's say we are going to learn measurements in math and learn about solids, liquids, and gases from science by baking a cake today. So this is what is my project. Why will this make sense to a learner? Because a student can always say, I am not interested. I have absolutely no interest in baking a cake or growing mushrooms. Why should I do this? So when this happens, when there is no learner autonomy or no learner connection or no learner agency, what we need to do is put these three things across for the students. So every student must always keep wondering, what am I learning today? So this is something a teacher should discuss with the learner. Let's say today's, what am I learning? Let me make use of the example about cake baking. So what am I learning today? I'm going to learn to bake a cake. Why am I learning this? This is perhaps I'm learning because I am learning measurement from math and solids, liquids, and gases from science through baking a cake. Now, how am I learning this? Yeah, so I'm going to learn a lot of, the cake baking activity, a lot of concepts and measurements in solid, liquid, gases, heating and cooling, about temperature, about warming. So I'm going to learn about a lot of things through this cake baking activity. So when I have explained this, when I have given a clarity or shared my learning objective with the students, they are able to make a connection. And is that enough to make a connection? Just sharing these things. What are you going to learn today? Why are you going to learn this? And how are you going to learn this? Will this alone be enough? Absolutely not. They need a context. Like today's context was, Gulshan ji started the session by saying that and other countries also when it comes to medical treatment. So he created a context. He showed the local flavor. Like this is 2.5 hours from Coimbatore, or Salem is 5 hours from Chennai. So by establishing a context, a person, an audience, or a student is able to make a connection there. Similarly, in a classroom, a teacher should be able to create a context. Say it's about baking a cake. So can we talk about somebody's birthday party? Because birthday party and cake in these times are quite synonymous. Do they go to a temple? Do they go outside? Do they do shopping? Do they go to a restaurant? So by discussing these things, children are already hooked on because it's their birthdays. It has made so much connection to their own day-to-day experiences, such a personal experience. And where do they buy that cake, if at all there is a cake baking, or if at all they celebrate their birthdays with the cake? Where do they buy a cake? Do they bake it at home? Do they bake, an aunt or a neighbor bakes it for them? Or do they go to a shop and buy? And who shops it? How do they calculate how much to buy? Do I buy 1 kg cake? Do I buy 2 kgs of cake? So all these, discussions probably will take only 5 to 10 minutes, but children have already, have been engaged to the day's activity because it's about their birthday. It's not about math. It's not about science. It's not even about cake baking. It's just about their birthday. That becomes the context. So when the teacher from that context creates a slight connection with the learning activity of the day. So if the teacher makes a connection like this, shall we bake a cake for, say, Prajan's birthday, which falls in November? So now everybody, let's practice baking a cake for Prajan's birthday, which falls in November. They all make a connection. Or shall we, say it's Abdul Kalam ji's birthday. Shall we bake a cake and celebrate in our own classroom? So this sort of makes a connection. And instead of giving the recipe and teaching them how to do it, if the teacher simply gives a small hint, this is how it's supposed to be done, but the rest is up to you. So she divides the class into different groups, asks them to search for information, search for ideas, and search for ways to bake a cake. And end of the day, after they've done this, how did they do this? Student can explain how they did that. When that happens, they are already talking about measurements. One student says, we use 200 grams of sugar. Another student says, we use 1 cup of sugar. Another student says, oh, I use, 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, another ml of vanilla essence. So they are even without learning, without making much effort. And how was the classroom? It was chaotic. It was a little disorganized, but it was a lot of fun because they were baking a cake for Prajan, or they were baking a cake for Abdul Kalam, or they were just celebrating a certain day in classroom by baking a cake. And how much did they learn about solids, liquids, and gases? Oh, they learned quite a lot. The cake was so solid, was powdery solid before baking. And after mixing, it became a semi-solid. And after baking, it became completely solid. And what about the lessons on heating, cooling? Oh, before it was cold, but it was not hard. And what happened after baking, after heating, it became quite solid. Was that a reversible change? Was that an irreversible change? All these things without a teacher telling them what is a reversible change, what is an irreversible change, what are solids, liquids, and gases, what is heating and cooling, and what is melting, or what is quarter cup, or what is 200 grams, or what is kilogram, without the teacher actually telling anything at all. The children, with so much fun, with so much of clutter and disorganized chaos in class, it's beautiful experience for them. End of the day, they have learned so much. Now all the teacher has to do, she just lit up a small connection. She started the class with a birthday party or a cake baking, and then how it makes such a personal connection. And the entire core learning activities was carried out by the children, not by the teacher. So how does she end it up? She consolidates all these learning by asking, what did you learn today? So the students may ask about, speak about cake baking or speak about heating and cooling, but eventually they'll be able to organize that. Teacher, all she does is, they learn. Were they able to make connection with the science lesson on heating and cooling? Maybe she can just show a simple video or read a simple text on heating. Each student saw ingredients, how they make the ingredients, what equipments they had to use, where did they find these ingredients, and so much of science and so much of math and so much of social communication during this particular process. And will they have further questions? Of course, they'll be buzzing with questions. Why is this happening? Why does this turn brown? Why does this, it is still very sticky? My cake is not fully cooked, or my cake is too hard, my cake is too soft. So they are, having so much of curiosity, and this curiosity will perhaps help them learn chemistry and biochemistry when they grow older, when they are in higher classes, because every learning will start making sense when we focus on establishing connections. Like when students say they go to 12th standard and they're learning chemistry, so they understand why they are learning certain things about acids and bases. I remember a student who came to me a few months back before all this lockdown happened. So that student suddenly, he just came running up to me and says, "Ma'am, I need something soda." I was wondering, what does he mean? He said, "I need something base, salt, a soda," because he was sort of agitated. I was trying to understand better, asking him what he meant. And he told me, "I had an ant bit me here. I think it is acidic because ant has a lot of folic acid. I need a salt or a base or something alkaline to whatever sting I have because of the ant action." He was, after all, in 5th standard, and he was telling me about something acidic has to be neutralized with some base. So this is a learning which has made sense to him. Maybe he didn't learn too much chemistry in grade 5, but he understood certain concepts because it made sense to him. When we give them relevant examples, when we give them a connection, a context, a local flavor to the topic, like, why will I learn about water crisis in Cape Town in South Africa? If I can learn about the water crisis in my own apartment, in my own town, and how am I going to learn about it? And if my question paper says Mukaneri Lake in Salem is drying up, how will you take measures to conserve water in that area? So that will make a lot of sense than talking about a lake or a river that is in, Amazon River or some North American lake. So if I can bring a connection locally, if I can make learning very fun and engaged and, uh, very meaningful, then a child learns very well. Then the learning becomes very, very, very relevant and important. And even if they like a subject, even if they know a subject, they will definitely be able to not have a proper connection if we don't forge it. So if teachers forge these connections, children learn deeply. They have a certain goal in life. They get a goal in life. Yes, this is what I like. This is what I'm good at. This is what I would like to do. So we are putting them on a very, very good path towards success. So this is what I had to share with you all today. And thank you so much for having.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. It was a pleasure to have you this afternoon. And We wish you all the best. We wish you all the success. We wish you all the wonderful days ahead. And we pray to Almighty that your school from the 7th class should go to 12th class. You should have more students. You should have more teachers. You should serve the humanity more, and more, whatever better you can, because so much you have learned and so much of cerebrum, and God had been so kind to give you so much, which you should share with the humanity further and help the humanity the best possible way.